I've been an architect for 7 years, but I've never designed anything that mattered. Shopping centers, office parks, apartment complexes that all look the same, buildings with no soul, no character, no story. I work at Yates and Hale Architecture in Chicago, a firm that specializes in making the world a little more generic, one project at a time. I'm good at my job, good enough that my boss, Andrew Yates, has been hinting at a promotion. Junior partner, my own office, a significant raise. I should be excited, but every morning when I wake up, I feel like I'm suffocating. Have you ever felt like you were living the wrong life? Like you were on a path that looked right on paper but felt wrong in your soul? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more compelling stories about second chances, unexpected choices, and finding where you truly belong, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our next story. It was a Wednesday morning in early October when everything changed. I was at my usual coffee shop, Brewster's, 2 blocks from my apartment, working on renderings for another soulless office building, trying to care about sightlines and parking ratios. The coffee shop was nearly empty. Just me, the barista, and an older woman sitting near the window. I didn't pay attention to her at first, just another customer. Then she stood up, walked over to my table. "Excuse me?" I looked up. She was in her late 60s, maybe. Gray hair pulled back, hands that trembled slightly, eyes that looked sad, deeply, profoundly sad. "Can I help you?" I asked. She sat down across from me without asking permission. "You don't know me," she said. Her voice was quiet, steady. "But I need to tell you something." I felt uncomfortable immediately. "I'm sorry, I don't." "In 3 days, something will happen. You'll have a choice to make." She leaned forward. "Choose the unexpected." I stared at her. "What?" "3 days. A choice. Choose the unexpected." She stood up. "That's all I needed to say." "Wait, what are you talking about?" But she was already walking toward the door. She paused at the threshold, looked back at me one more time, and then she was gone. I sat there confused, creeped out. What the hell was that? I tried to focus on work. Couldn't. That woman, her sad eyes, her trembling hands, 3 days. A choice. Choose the unexpected. It sounded like something from a bad movie. When I got to the office, I mentioned it to my colleague, Derek. "Dude, you got approached by a crazy person," he said, laughing. "Welcome to city living." She didn't seem crazy. She seemed, I don't know, certain. Certain she's crazy. Derek went back to his computer. Forget about it. But I couldn't. I tried to work, tried to focus on the office building project. But my mind kept drifting back to that woman. Choose the unexpected. What did that even mean? Andrew called me into his office that afternoon. "Travis, I wanted to give you a heads up. The partners are meeting next week. We're going to officially offer you junior partnership." I should have been thrilled. This was what I'd been working toward for 7 years. "That's great," I said. My voice sounded hollow even to me. Andrew noticed. "You don't seem excited." "No, I am. Just processing." "Travis, this is a big deal. Junior partner at 31? Most people don't make it until their 40s. "I know. Thank you, Andrew." But as I walked back to my desk, I felt nothing. I had dinner with my parents that evening. Paul and Marla Barrett, the people who adopted me when I was 6 months old. They're good people, the best people. They gave me everything. I've always known I was adopted. They never hid it, told me from the time I could understand. "You were chosen," Mom used to say. "We picked you because we loved you the moment we saw you." Over meatloaf and mashed potatoes, Mom asked, "You seem distracted, honey. Everything okay?" "Yeah, just work stuff." "Your father and I were talking. When are you going to start looking for a house?" "That apartment is too small. You need space. Maybe think about settling down." I was 31, single, living in a studio apartment. According to everyone, I was behind schedule on life. Something weird happened yesterday, I said. This woman approached me at the coffee shop. I told them about the encounter, the warning, the strange certainty in her voice. Dad frowned. Sounds like a scam. Probably trying to set you up for something. Don't engage. I'm not going to. It was just weird. Mom touched my hand. There are a lot of troubled people in the city, sweetie. Just be careful. I nodded, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't a scam. It was something else, something I didn't understand yet. I woke up early the next day, anxious, heart pounding. Today is the day. I didn't know why I was so certain, but I was. I went to work, tried to act normal. Every time my phone rang, my heart jumped. At 2:47 p.m. it happened. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Mr. Travis Barrett? Yes. My name is Gerald Foster. I'm an attorney in Crescent Bay, Washington. I need to speak with you about an inheritance. My stomach dropped. I'm sorry, what? You've inherited property from Dorothy Sullivan. Can you come to my office to discuss the details? Dorothy Sullivan. I didn't know anyone named Dorothy Sullivan. I think you have the wrong person. Are you Travis Michael Barrett, born March 14th, adopted through Seattle Children's Services? My mouth went dry. Yes. Then I have the right person. Mr. Barrett, this is sensitive. I'd prefer to discuss it in person. Can you fly out this week? I don't understand. Who is Dorothy Sullivan? A pause. Then, she's your biological grandmother. I called out sick the next day, booked a flight to Seattle for the next morning, rented a car, drove 2 hours to Crescent Bay, a small coastal town I'd never heard of. Gerald Foster's office was in a converted Victorian house downtown. He was in his 60s. Kind eyes, gentle voice. Mr. Barrett, thank you for coming. I need to understand what's happening. He gestured to a chair, sat across from me, pulled out a file. Dorothy Sullivan passed away 2 days ago. She left everything to you. I don't know her. I know, but she knew you. He opened the file, pulled out a photograph. My breath caught. The woman from the coffee shop, the one who'd warned me. That's her, I whispered. You've met? 3 days ago. She came up to me at a coffee shop in Chicago, said something about a choice. Gerald's expression softened. That sounds like Dorothy. She had a way of knowing things. Who was she? And then he told me everything. Dorothy Sullivan was my biological grandmother. My biological mother, her daughter, Melissa, had gotten pregnant at 15. The father was a boy from school who disappeared when he found out. Melissa's own father, Dorothy's husband, had died 3 months before Melissa gave birth, and then Melissa died in childbirth. Complications. She was 16 years old. Dorothy was 36, a recent widow, having just lost her only child, and suddenly responsible for a newborn. She tried, Gerald said quietly. For 2 weeks she tried to take care of you, but she was drowning in grief. She'd lost her husband, lost her daughter. She was working 2 jobs just to survive. So she gave me up. Yes, through an agency in Seattle, open adoption. She got updates, photos twice a year until you turned 18. I sat there, processing. My whole life I'd known I was adopted, but I'd never known why. She spent 31 years regretting it, Gerald continued. She'd built a life here, bought a small inn, worked herself to the bone, but she never forgave herself for giving you away. Then why didn't she contact me? Shame, guilt, fear that you'd hate her. He paused, and then 6 months ago she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, terminal. The doctors gave her 4 to 6 months. My throat tightened. She wrote her will, left everything to you, and a week ago she did something I advised against. She flew to Chicago, found you, watched you. She was following me? For a few days. She wanted to see the man you'd become. And what she saw, he pulled out a letter. She wrote this the day she got back. He handed it to me. Dear Travis, I watched you for 5 days. Saw you go to work. Saw you sit alone at coffee shops. Saw the way you looked at buildings, not with love, but with resignation. You look so much like your mother. Her eyes. Her smile when you do smile, which isn't often enough. I'm dying. I have weeks, maybe days, and I need to do one thing before I go. I need to give you a choice. The choice I didn't give myself. I spent 31 years living a half-life, working, surviving, punishing myself. I built something here, an inn, a home, but I never let myself be happy, because I didn't think I deserved it. You're doing the same thing. I can see it. You're living someone else's idea of a good life, but you're not living your life. So I'm giving you everything. The inn, the property, the choice. You can sell it, take the money, go back to your safe, predictable life, or you can choose the unexpected. Come here, build something. Find out who you are when you're not trying to be what everyone expects. I can't give you back the 31 years we lost. But I can give you this. Choose the unexpected, Travis. It's the only thing I regret not doing. Your grandmother, Dorothy. I read it 3 times, tears streaming down my face. The inheritance, Gerald said, is an inn called the Driftwood Inn, 12 rooms, 3 acres on the coast. It's been appraised at $900,000. I couldn't speak. There's also $50,000 in her bank account that she asked to share between you and another person. And this. He handed me a key. She wanted you to have it. No strings attached. You can sell it tomorrow if you want. Or you can go see it. The inn is still operating. Dorothy's assistant manager, Haley Patton, has been running it since Dorothy got too sick. She's expecting you. I held the key, felt its weight. Choose the unexpected. Mr. Barrett, Gerald said gently, Dorothy told me about your meeting at the coffee shop. She said, I'm going to tell him to choose the unexpected, and then I'm going to give him something worth choosing. She died 2 days ago? Yes. 1 day after she went into hospice. She held on just long enough to make sure the will was processed. I closed my eyes. She'd warned me. She'd known. I called Andrew that night. Travis, where are you? You missed 2 days of work. I'm in Washington. I need to take some time off. Time off? Travis, we're about to make you partner. I know, and I'm grateful, but something's come up. Family stuff. How much time? I don't know yet. A week. Maybe more. A long pause. Travis, if you're not serious about this partnership, I need to figure some things out, Andrew. I'll call you next week. I hung up before he could respond. Crescent Bay was beautiful, small, coastal, charming. The kind of town where people waved at strangers and actually meant it. The Driftwood Inn sat on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, weathered cedar siding, a wraparound porch, gardens that had seen better days but still bloomed stubbornly. It was the most beautiful building I'd ever seen. I walked inside. A bell chimed above the door. The lobby was cozy, worn but loved. A fireplace, mismatched furniture that somehow worked. The smell of coffee and salt air. A woman stood behind the front desk. Late 20s, dark hair pulled into a messy bun. Tired eyes. She looked up. Her expression went cold immediately. You're Travis Barrett. Yes. You must be Haley? I am. Her voice was ice. You have a lot of nerve showing up here. I blinked. I'm sorry? 31 years. She waited 31 years, and you couldn't even come see her before she died. I didn't know she existed. Right, because you never bothered to look. My jaw tightened. I was adopted at 6 months old. I had no idea who my biological family was. I found out she existed the same day she died. Haley's expression flickered. Doubt. Surprise. She never told me that. She didn't tell me a lot of things either. We stared at each other. The tension was thick enough to cut. Finally, Haley sighed. She left you everything. The inn, the property, all of it. I know. So what are you going to do? Sell it? Cash out? I don't know yet. Of course you don't. She turned away. Your room is upstairs, second door on the left. Breakfast is at 8. Checkout is at 11, whenever you decide to leave. She walked into the back office, slammed the door. I stood there, holding my duffel bag. This was going to be harder than I thought. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked the property. The inn had 12 rooms, half were occupied. Guests who'd booked months in advance. The building itself was structurally sound, but desperately needed updates. Roof repairs, new plumbing, fresh paint. The gardens needed work. The dock down by the water was rotting. But underneath all the wear and tear, I could see it. Potential. Not just potential. Beauty. Soul. The kind of place that could be truly special. The kind of place I'd always wanted to design, but never had the chance. The next morning, I found Haley in the kitchen. She was arguing with an older woman, Rita, the cook. We can't keep running this place on fumes, Haley was saying. The roof is leaking. The water heater died last week. We need… She saw me. Stopped talking. Morning, I said. Morning. Her tone was still cold. Can we talk? She hesitated, then nodded. We sat on the porch. Ocean waves crashed below. I'm not here to sell, I said. Haley looked at me. What? I'm not selling. Not yet, anyway. I want to understand what this place is first. Why? Because my grandmother gave it to me, and I think I owe it to her to at least try to understand why. Haley's expression softened slightly. You're an architect, right? Dot mentioned that. Yeah, how did she know? She kept track of you, had articles you'd written, projects you'd worked on. She was proud of you. My throat tightened. She didn't even know me. She knew enough. Haley looked out at the ocean. Dot took me in 8 years ago. I was 21. Broke. Running from a bad situation. She gave me a job, a room, a life, and half of the money she had in her bank account. She sounds like a good person. She was, but she was also sad. Every year on your birthday, she'd close herself in her room. Cry. She never told me why until she got sick. What did she say? She just said she'd made the hardest choice of her life, and she'd spent 3 decades wondering if it was the right one. Didn't give any details. We sat in silence. Finally, Haley said, If you're serious about not selling, we need help. The inn is barely holding together. I can see that. Can you fix it? I looked at the building, at the peeling paint, the sagging porch railing, the beauty underneath. Yes, I said. I think I can. I called Andrew the next day. I'm not coming back, I said. Travis, what are you talking about? I'm staying in Washington. I inherited an inn. I'm going to restore it. You're throwing away your career for a building? I'm an architect, Andrew. I've spent 7 years designing buildings I don't care about. This is a building I care about. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. I hung up, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. Over the next 3 months, I threw myself into the inn. I hired Gordon, a local handyman, to help with the big repairs. Re-roofed the building, fixed the plumbing, restored the porch, replanted the gardens. Haley watched skeptically at first, but as the work progressed, her attitude shifted. She started making suggestions, helping with design choices. We worked side by side, me with blueprints, her with operational knowledge. And slowly, something changed between us. The coldness thawed. We started talking, really talking. She told me about her life before Dorothy, the alcoholic father, the mother who looked the other way, the night she ran. I told her about growing up adopted, always feeling grateful but also wondering about my own history. On a rainy afternoon in January, I found a box in Dorothy's old office. Letters, dozens of them, all addressed to me, all unmailed. I sat on the floor, read every single one. Dear Travis, you're turning 5 today. I wonder what you look like. If you're happy. If you know you're loved. Dear Travis, you're starting high school. I hope you're finding your passion. Your mother loved to draw. Maybe you do too. Dear Travis, you graduated college. I'm so proud of you. Even though you'll never know me. 31 years of letters. I cried until I couldn't breathe. Haley found me there, sat down next to me, read one of the letters. She loved you, Haley said softly. She never stopped loving you. I wish I'd known her. Me too. Haley took my hand. But Travis, she gave you a choice, a chance to start over. I looked at her, and I realized I'd fallen in love with her, with this place, with this life. It was late February when everything between Haley and me came to a head. We'd been working together for 4 months. The inn was almost ready to reopen. The repairs were nearly done, and I was falling apart inside, because I was in love with her. Completely, hopelessly, in love with Haley Patton, but I had no idea how she felt, and I was terrified to ask. It happened on a Thursday night. We just finished painting the last guest room. Haley had paint streaks in her hair. I probably had them on my face. That's it, she said, setting down her brush. All 12 rooms done. You're incredible, you know that. She laughed. I'm covered in paint. Still incredible. She looked at me. Something shifted in her expression. Travis. Come with me, I said suddenly. I want to show you something. I led her down to the dock, the one I'd rebuilt with Gordon over 3 weeks in January. The sun was setting, pink and orange reflecting off the water. It's beautiful, Haley said softly. That's not what I wanted to show you. I pulled out my phone, opened the photos. Look. It was a before and after comparison. The inn 4 months ago, run down, peeling sad, and the inn now, restored, vibrant, alive. We did that, I said. You did that? No, we. You told me what Dorothy loved about this place. You helped me understand what to preserve and what to change. This wasn't just me. Haley stared at the photos, then at the inn behind us. She would have loved it, she whispered. I wish she could have seen it. She did. In her head, when she decided to leave it to you. Haley turned to me. She knew you'd do this. Somehow she knew. We stood there. Close. Too close. I could smell her shampoo. Something floral. Could see the paint streak on her cheek. Could feel the pull between us that had been growing for months. Haley, I need to tell you something. Travis, don't. I have to, because if I don't say it now, I'm going to lose my nerve. I took a breath. When I first got here, you hated me. I didn't hate you, you did. And you had every right to. But somewhere between the roof repair and the garden replanting and the 1,000 cups of coffee at 3 in the morning, I fell in love with you. Haley's eyes went wide. Travis. I know this complicates things. I know we work together and this is probably the worst timing and maybe you don't feel the same way. But I had to tell you. Because every day I don't tell you feels like lying. Silence. Just the sound of waves against the dock. Haley looked down. Away from me. My heart sank. I'd ruined everything. I'm sorry, I said quickly. I shouldn't have. I was 21 when I met Dorothy, Haley said quietly. I'd just left home. I had $200 and a duffel bag. I was sleeping in my car. I stayed quiet. Let her talk. I came into the Driftwood Inn looking for work. Any work. Cleaning rooms, washing dishes, anything. Dorothy took one look at me and said, When's the last time you ate? Haley smiled sadly. She made me lunch, let me take a shower, gave me a room, and then she said, You're safe here. Whatever you're running from, it can't reach you here. She saved you. She did more than that. She taught me what family could be. People who love you because they choose to, not because they have to. Haley finally looked at me. When she told me about you, I was angry. Angry that she'd had this grandson out there and never got to know him. Angry that she'd suffered alone. Angry that you didn't know how incredible she was. I was angry too, when I found out. But then you came here, and you weren't what I expected. She stepped closer. I thought you'd sell immediately. Cash out. Most people would. But you stayed. You worked. You listened when I talked about Dot. You cared about preserving what she built. Of course I did. No, not of course. Most people wouldn't. But you did. Haley's voice cracked. And somewhere between watching you fix the porch railing and redesign the gardens and work 16-hour days, I fell in love with you too. My breath caught. What? I'm in love with you, Travis Barrett. And it terrifies me. Because everyone I've ever loved has left. My parents. Dorothy. Everyone. I took her hands. I'm not leaving. You say that now. I'm not leaving, I repeated firmly. I gave up a career in Chicago. I gave up a partnership. I gave up the life everyone expected me to have. Because this, I gestured to the inn, to the ocean, to her. This is where I belong. Tears streamed down Haley's face. Promise me. I promise. Promise me you won't leave when things get hard. Promise me you won't wake up one day and regret giving up your old life. Haley, look at me. I cupped her face in my hands. That old life? I was drowning. Every single day I felt like I couldn't breathe. And then I came here. I met you, and for the first time in my entire life, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Travis, I love you. Not just because you're beautiful, which you are, not just because you're smart and tough and funny, but because when I'm with you, I'm the best version of myself, the version I always wanted to be but never knew how. Haley laughed through her tears. You're really good with words for an architect. I've been practicing that speech for 2 months. 2 months? I've loved you since January, when you told Gordon his measurements were wrong and he tried to argue and you pulled out a tape measure and proved it. Haley laughed. That was a good day. Every day with you is a good day. She looked at me for a moment and then she kissed me. Her hands in my hair. My arms around her waist. The taste of salt air and paint and coffee. The feeling of coming home. When we finally pulled apart, Haley was smiling. Really smiling. The kind of smile I'd only seen glimpses of before. So what happens now? She asked. Now we finish the inn. We open in April. We build something beautiful. Together. Together, she repeated. I like the sound of that. Me too. We stood there on the dock as the sun finished setting. The Driftwood Inn behind us. The Pacific stretching endlessly ahead. And I thought about Dorothy. About the choice she'd given me. Choose the unexpected. I had. And it had led me here. To this place. To this woman. To this life. To exactly where I was always meant to be. April arrived, and so did the Driftwood Inn reopening. Fully restored. 12 rooms, all updated, gardens in bloom. Dock rebuilt. We kept the name. Added a plaque. In memory of Dorothy Sullivan. My parents came for the opening. They were nervous at first, worried I'd regret giving up my career. But when they saw the inn, saw me with Haley, saw the way I smiled now, they understood. She would be so proud, Mom said, looking at Dorothy's photo in the lobby. I hope so, I said. 1 year after Dorothy died, I stood in the same coffee shop in Chicago where she'd approached me. I was back for a weekend, visiting friends, closing out my apartment lease. As I worked on my laptop, now designing custom projects for small inns and historic buildings, I felt something completely different from the feeling I had a year ago, something like full circle. Have you ever received advice that changed your entire life? Have you ever taken a risk that seemed crazy, but turned out to be exactly what you needed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story about second chances, unexpected inheritances, and finding your true path moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more compelling stories about choosing the unexpected, honoring legacies, and discovering who you're meant to be. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our next story. Thanks for watching.